Time is valuable, information is valuable, and here you get everything you need to know in less than 5 minutes. Since Ashe scales extremely hard with attack speed, her best rune page is Lethal Tempo, Presence of Mind, Legend Alacrity, and Coup de Grace, with magical footwear and approach velocities secondary. Your shards are attack speed, adaptive force, and armor or magic resist depending on the enemy bot lane. You max W first, Q second, and E third, putting a point into your ultimate whenever possible. Doran's Blade and a health potion are your starting items, and the items Blade of the Ruined King and Runan's Hurricane make up your core build every game. You purchase them in this exact order, and you upgrade your boots to Berserker's Greaves as soon as you get them from the Rune Magical Footwear. Attack speed is vital on Ashe, as you need to attack 4 times before you can activate your Q. This ability provides even more damage and attack speed, which in return means that Ashe benefits from Blade of the Ruined King's on-hit damage more than most other champions. Runan's Hurricane allows you to apply your Frost passive to 3 targets, providing good utility and safety during fights. Moreover, the bolts apply Ashe's Q as well. And if you now consider that on-hit damage also fully applies on Runan's passive, you can now clearly see why this core build is so powerful on this champion. Contrary to popular belief, Ashe's damage gets amplified just as much by critical strike items as anyone else's, as long as her target is slowed by Frost. Ashe's passive deals bonus damage to those targets depending on her crit chance. A Caitlyn with 25% crit chance deals 100% bonus damage with a crit, which happens 25% of the time. In contrast to that, Ashe with 25% crit chance deals 25% bonus damage 100% of the time. Mathematically, these two amplifications are of equal value due to the commutative law. Therefore, pressing the like button and following up your core build with an Infinity Edge is a viable option if you need more damage. However, many pro players build Death's Dance as a third item for increased survivability. More longevity allows you to make better use of Ashe's incredible teamfight utility coming from your passive and from your ultimate. Additionally, she's an immobile AD carry, and every assassin or bruiser will attempt to one-shot you. Due to that, foregoing Infinity Edge in favor of other defensive items like Phantom Dancer, Guardian Angel, Maw of Malmortius, or Mercurial Scimitar can be necessary. On the other hand, if your team needs more damage to pierce through the enemy tanks, Infinity Edge and one of the Last Whisper items are your go-to options. Generally speaking, however, Ashe can deal with tanks effectively due to her crowd control, attack speed, and percent health on-hit damage coming from her core build. Therefore, from your third item onwards, you need to adapt your item build according to the enemy team. Despite being immobile, Ashe can stay relatively safe during the lane phase, since her on-hit slow and her above-average attack range make it very hard for the enemy to start a fight. What's more, your E allows you to scout for the enemy jungler. At this stage of the game, knowing which enemy jungle camps are cleared and which are not is a valuable piece of information. Your main targets for your E are, therefore, the enemy red buff, the enemy blue buff, and the subscribe button underneath this video. The provided vision does not only keep you safe from ganks, but also your teammates. Ashe's W can be used to farm minions and poke your lane opponents at the same time, but keep in mind that you will run out of mana rather quickly if you do not yet have any stacks from Presence of Mind. Especially after level 6, Ashe has crazy gank support with her crowd control. In combination with Approach Velocity, which is an incredibly strong rune in the current meta, Ashe can force any opponent into a fight if she wants to. And what is true during the lane phase is also true during the mid game. Here, you can use your ultimate either as an engage tool or as follow-up engage. If you choose to start a fight, you should always initiate with your ultimate or with your W. Both of these abilities have much more range than your already long-ranged auto attacks. Both of them apply crowd control and approach velocity, and both of them trigger lethal tempo. It's a simple concept. You catch them with R or W, you catch up to them with Frost and approach velocity, while you catch up to them, lethal tempo gets ready, and with lethal tempo you get your Q ready almost immediately. Running away is nearly impossible for your opponent in that situation. Keep in mind, however, that this means he is very likely to turn against you and go for an all-in himself, so only do this if your team is backing you up or if you're strong enough. And because your job is to pick fights for your team, this also means your job is to pick favorable fights if you want to win. Baiting your team with your ultimate when you are outnumbered can be game losing, so make sure you read the minimap correctly before you take action. Here you can also use your E to scout for enemy backup before you engage. This is especially useful if you need to fight over Baron or Dragon, because the enemy team will most likely clear all of your wards before trying to take those objectives. You do have strong DPS in fights, but in order to stay alive, it can be necessary to back off a little bit after your engage. Wait until the enemy assassins show themselves, so you can make sure they are not jumping directly onto you. Then you can start applying your consistent damage with auto attacks. If you like playing AD carries with utility and playmaking potential, you should check out my Jhin guide as well. Ashe is better at dealing with tanks, but Jhin is better at dealing with squishy targets. Click the link on your screen to find out everything you need to know.